Okay, here we have to solve this rational equation. X minus 2 divided by x minus 6 is equal to x minus 4 divided by x minus 5 minus 1. And so how are we going to do this? First off is we want to get rid of these denominators because they're kind of hard to work with, and we'd rather just have a linear equation or a quadratic equation because we know how to do those. Those are more basic. So what we can do is multiply both sides of this equation by both denominators. Right? If we multiply both sides by x minus 5, we're going to cancel out this denominator. If we multiply both sides by x minus 6, we're going to cancel out this denominator. And so we're going to multiply by both. So here's how we're going to do it. Again, multiply by x minus 6 and x minus 5 to the left side, and multiply by the same thing to the right side. And so on the left, you can see x minus 6's will cancel, those factors will cancel, and we'll be left with x minus 5 times x minus 2. Again, this is just a quadratic now. On the right here, again, these two factors multiply to both terms. And so when we multiply by the first term, we're going to get, well, x minus 5 and x minus 5. Those factors in the denominator will cancel each other out. And we're left with x minus 6 times x minus 4. And then finally, we just have a negative 1. So when we multiply by these two, it's just negative those two factors. And so now you can see we just have a bunch of factors and we can expand it, and we're going to get a quadratic equation that we can solve. So on the left here, I won't spend too much time, but if you can FOIL it out, do what you need to do. We're going to get x squared minus 7x plus 10, x squared minus 10x plus 24. That's from these two factors. And then minus x squared plus 11x minus 30. Now keep in mind this minus sign in the front that applies to all three terms in your expansion. And so without the minus sign, right, if I don't know minus sign here, if there's a plus, I would have plus x squared minus 11x plus 30. But because we have that minus sign that applies to all three terms, make sure that's a common mistake. And so here we just have to do some simplification. On the right, we have x squared minus x squared. We also have negative 10x plus 11x, so that just gives us x. And we have 24 minus 30, which gives us negative 6. And now we have a much more manageable equation. So now we just move, right? How do we solve quadratics? We can move all of them to one side to start with. And so subtract x from both sides, I get negative 8 on the negative 8x on the left. Add 6 to both sides, I get 16. All equal to 0, and you can actually factor this quadratic into x minus 4 times x minus 4, right? X minus 4 squared, actually. And so we could, by the, zero factor property, we get x minus 4 equals 0 and x equals 4. And so finally, once we get this answer with rational equations, it's good to check back in the original equation, because this could be a sort of extraneous root, right? So check x equals 4. That works with the denominators, right? We don't have 0. We're not dividing by 0 anywhere. So this is our final answer. X equals 4.